Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm so excited to be here, especially with Mercedes Sullivan as a guest. Today's just going to be rocking, full of energy. So it's a great day to be here because it'll get you through the rest of the month. I'm positive about this.
No pressure.
And no pressure, no pressure.
I feel like we got to dance now or something fun.
Yeah. You know what? We do need to start putting music on these. I don't know how we're gonna integrate it, but we should. We should
I
just to
mean,
like start on a good note. That's
are
what
you
these
even a
power
Latina
breaks.
if you don't start dancing? I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. That's what these power breaks are all about, right? It's about bringing that power, that energy to what might feel like a dull day or a dull week. That's why they're Wednesdays, because it gets us like through hump day and then for the rest of the week. So, but we're excited. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, for listening in, whether you're looking at this live, whether you're looking at the recording, whatever it is. Thank you so much for spending the time. And we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but we want to start by talking about, being told no. And it feels like that has been a consistent throughout a lot of, throughout a lot of decades for many of us, why we can't do something because of who we are or because of the circumstances or because of perceptions. But now, even more than ever, just because of disruption, just because nobody really knows what's happening or because there's limited resources, or there's always a good excuse for something. But it feels like being told no is becoming a consistent thing every day, and it's very frustrating, it's very taxing, it's very emotionally draining trying to always like overcome. And I think it's important that we touch on this subject that I know that you've gone through, I know that I've gone through, I know that many of our listeners go through. Like, how do we navigate through the being told no and still showing up, still standing strong, still pushing through, and being able to then balance that chaos that's caused from the no to enjoying the now, right? And embracing that. So, Mercedes, you've walked through like the whole journey and more.
No,
Uh,
¿cómo que
and
no?
I, ¿Cómo
All
que
my
no?
life, ¿cómo que no?
Exactly. So kick us off.
Yeah. First of all, happy Wednesday back to you and to everybody listening or whatever day you're listening in, if it's a recording. I am so excited to be here, Ilhiana. You know, I'm one of your biggest fans ever. And I cannot thank you enough for coming into my life and sharing United Latinas and literally giving us a community for us to navigate the no's. So, yeah, no is something that's most of it here our entire life. But for me, starting from when I was growing up in Mexico as a tennis player, I'm a 5 foot little human. And I was like, I want to be really good. And my coaches were like, nah, you're too little. Or I want to study this. Nah, you're a woman. Or all of the things, right? I'm like, why not? The first time I played chess with my grandfather, and he explained to me that like the game ends when you kill the king. I'm like, the useless king. How about the queen? The queen's doing all of this stuff. I was like, what do you mean now? So we changed the rules and we played with the queen for a while. All of that to say is that I know all of you have been through lots of no's. What I've had to learn to navigate through my life, though, is that I was of the mentality of like, well, no, but I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to wait until X, Y, and Z happens. And then I'm going to be happy because I'm going to hit that yes, and that's going to come true, right? So I'm, it's good that I'm greedy and that I can get there, but I had to figure out how do I balance my ambitions and my trying to do getting to the yeses without abandoning myself, and also figuring out how to find the joy of today. So not waiting for the rain to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. See, the dancing is our theme. And I love that we're talking about this because, especially for our communities like ours, that we want to be perfect and we overgive and we don't take the time to just, take a moment for ourselves and enjoy the now. We want to make sure everybody else is well. It's very important for us to talk about Hey, how do you continue to navigate the no's while living your life, your best life right now, because you only have today. Today is only the only thing that we're guaranteed right now. So yeah, I am so excited that we're talking about this, Ilhiana.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you talk on a lot of things in terms of the perfectionism that is part of the, I don't want to say the issue, but I'm blanking right now on the word. But it's part of the barrier, right? The thing that we not only we need to overcome the no from others, but the inner critic no as well. Because we push ourselves to these high standards that sometimes are unachievable. And therefore, we also tell no to ourselves as well. Like, this is not good enough. This is not as good as it could be. And so we keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So it's like between the external pressures of people actually telling you no, it's not the right time, you're a woman, whatever, you're Latina, and the inner no of I can't do it, I'm not good enough, this is not perfect enough. It's just a lot of no's, and it
It's a
becomes
lot of things.
truly it becomes truly unbearable, right? The good thing is that joy is and dancing is something that as a culture many of us embrace. I think if that weren't true, like many of us would be in a different,
We will be a
even
hot
more
mess.
challenging, yes, yes,
Yeah,
a
I mean, we're
hot
still a
mess.
hot mess, but we will be a worse hot mess. But yes, I always say, do not be your own no. We have enough of that in the world. And this is why I've been reflecting a lot in my life about what is one of the biggest skills that I want to leave to my kids and that is most important for success. And I came up with self awareness. Do you know yourself? Do you shame yourself for resting? Like, I really took some time to think about who am I? What do I want? Versus what society told me to want. Why am I shaming myself for, like, why am I okay, you can take a nap, but only after you've done X, Y, and Z. Why? I need a nap. Why am I shaming myself? It's all of the stories that we told ourselves that we're not good enough. If only we did X, Y, and Z, they would accept us. So I stopped trying to equate my value and my worth by other people accepting me or having this external validation of being perfect. And I started working on what am I, who am I, what do I need, what's important to me, and then work on that, trying to be exceptional and push myself, eliminating that I can't do it, like going for it, but without trying to be perfect or without shaming myself. So three little things that actually really worked for me. They're very, very simple. One, I took a picture of myself as a 7-year-old and I put it on my screensaver. And every time I had that negative self-talk, I would look at it and be like, that's who you're talking to. And it sounds so dumb, but it was so powerful because every time I said some self-deprecating joke or something negative, I'm like, oh, the wound for that little girl. Like, don't do that. So that piece. The second, I am having conversations in which I notice that somebody else may not be reacting or receiving me or is about to tell me no. And I notice that instead of being like, oh, maybe it's not a good match or it's not a good fit, or they don't understand my value or what I offer, I'm like, how do I change myself so that they accept me and they pick me? I'm like, ooh, no, no, no. So I had to go do a lot of inner work with that. And then finally, the third piece is just being with a community that supports you. Like for me, the no's felt harder because I felt alone. And then it really felt like it was me. I'm like, maybe it is me if people around me are telling me no. And when I joined United Latinas and I heard the stories reflected back on me from all of us, I'm like, it's not me, it's them. I mean, it's not necessarily, but at least you're not alone and you understand that you have a place to 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 feel seen and heard, because this extremist, like, nobody's coming to save you, pull yourself by the bootstraps. I'm like, I don't even have boots. And we're a communal species, or the humans are meant to be tribal and communal. You need that community, you need that connection to be seen. So yeah, like, number one, talk to you nicely and kindly. Two, do not make stories about yourself that are not true. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. Keep going. Be true to yourself, know yourself. And three, find your tribe, tu tribu. ¿Dónde está tu comunidad? So that they can sustain you when everything feels heavy. Like right now. Right now things are heavy.
They are, and I think I love your 3 points, and I completely agree. And I love the taking a picture of yourself, when you were young, because that person, that kid still lives within us. And we definitely, we give grace to others and we don't give grace to ourselves, but making it so visual, so tangible in front of us, I think it's a great way of giving grace to ourselves, right? Providing grace. So I love that one, especially the being true to yourself, and then the community of support, critically important. So completely agree with all of those. And the other thing that I would add is also thinking about what other people are struggling through, and this perfection, that this playbook, I've been talking about the playbook in other places, this playbook of perfection, this playbook of how we're supposed to show up, how we're supposed to do things, how we're supposed to talk. And we talk about the shaming and the guilt comes from this playbook, right? That these rules, unwritten rules that we've inherited from many decades and not centuries ago, of how we should show up. And then suddenly realizing, hey, those rules, one, they don't apply to us, and two, they don't apply anymore to the world that we're living. And so feeling shame, I love what you said about the shame and the guilt, because that's the top number one, two, three, or four things that struggle, that make women struggle, and Latinas struggle in being able to put ourselves out there. So yes, it's um, shutting up that inner critic of the shame and the why are we shaming ourselves? Why am I not resting? Why is it not okay for me to speak up? Why is it not okay for me to brag, so to speak,
Yeah,
right? And it's not
correct
bragging,
it.
it's just sharing, like, I put a lot of sweat equity into this so that I can move forward. Like, why do I have to feel ashamed? And so I love that you talk about these three things, so that we can work on it. However, you and I know, because we've both talked about this and we've both gone through it, there's a moment that we're so deep into this such emotional roller coaster,
Yeah,
this shame, this guilt, this, that no matter how much people tell you that you shouldn't, that you should do all of these things, it's very hard to pull ourselves out of it because we're so deep into it. So how do we again balance
yeah.
so that we take charge of that present, that now, and can then push through, uh, because that nobody can do for us. That it's only
Correct.
us, like, doing it for ourselves, no matter how many people are around you.
100%, and I love that, and I giggle with what you said because I remember having like traditions that I didn't want to do, and I just told my parents, like, traditions are just peer pressure from the dead. Like, take what works for you and keep it. And people forget that culture and reality is socially constructed. We can continue to construct it. But going back to the shame and the piece of that, of how you're in el hoyo, like we say, you're already in the hole, you're depressed, you're there. I learned this recently when I was like, I'm an achiever and it's okay to be sad, but I'm going to pull myself out of this. And the best thing I learned is that when the world is telling you that you need to calm down, take care of yourself, sit your butt down, take care of yourself. I call this cocooning, and sit back and cocoon. Sometimes it's like healing. You're like, okay, I'm going through the next phase like a butterfly. If you push too hard, you're going to break the wings. They're not ready. Get back in there, think of it as phases, and get back in there, introspect. And you will feel shame, you will feel other things because we're programmed that way. And instead of shaming yourself for feeling things that you should or shouldn't feel, accept that that's how you feel and just sit with it. And it's the hardest thing to do. For me, it all changed when I stopped trying to be happy and I stopped trying to be successful. I just decided, well, you know what? That's not working. I just have anxiety. So instead, I did a lot of work on myself on I need to accept whatever I'm feeling, and I'm going to learn to process, and I'm going to learn that I'm going to be okay no matter what it is. I'm going to be okay when I feel like crap. I'm going to be okay when I feel angry. And you know what? I just got promoted. I'm going to be like, I got promoted, and I have a lot of validation from all of you being like, yay. And I'm going to own that. And I'm going to be like, hell yeah, I worked really hard for that. as much as one day I'm going to be sad, I'm going to be like, hey, friend, I need to talk to you for 20 minutes because I'm heavy and I just need somebody to let me cry. So accepting ourselves is one thing. The second is realizing that if we just wait for things to get better, it may never. And our life is going to pass by and we live in the now. So it is so important to me that I have rituals every day to check what is important to me, how am I spending my time against what I think is important? Because I caught myself last year when I was like, I care so much about my wellness. I'm like, really? Because I spend zero time on that. So I took time to actually focus, and I am like super, super stubborn with my bucket list. And I prioritize that first. Every year we do at least 3 to 5 things that are new to us. And then I make sure that I program my fancy trips or whatever now when I can. And that I look at little moments of micro joy every day. If I go for a run, okay, let's make sure that I look at the butterfly or whatever is happening around us. So make micro moments of joy and then put yourself first to what you need and actually do that, because you can have both. You can live in this space where it's sucky while collecting moments of joy. At the end of our life, that's all we're going to have: memories and little moments of joy. Collect those. And that's a lot more palatable. Oh my God, words. Than I need to be happy. That sounds stressful to me. That's a lot.
I love that. The micro moments of joy. I actually was having a conversation earlier today about those just micro moments, micro bursts of energy, micro spaces of pause. We sometimes think that in this world that we don't have time, because it feels like we don't have time. We're on all the time. Just giving ourselves 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes of space, sometimes 2 minutes, is good enough. So I love the micro moments of joy, and the word, just when I heard you collect them, it immediately gave me like, oh, I can actually collect them. Like I can put them, I can write them down, I can put an emoji on it, I can do something, because then it turns into a macro moment, right? And then that's something tangible that almost I could feel like a life raft,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. El
no, that you
flotador.
flotador, right? That you can hold on to, and that will help you in those moments where you might feel like you're drowning. Because the reality is, even those of us that are now like on the other side of this down moments, there are still times that you wake up like, oh my God, like here's another day, and you need those. I love the micro moments of joy reference, because
At the end of the day, for me, when I die, I hope that what happens is that I envision like the albums with your old pictures. I want pictures of things that I love, and the more I collect them, the more exciting it will be to remember my life back. I worked with some people at the end of life, and it always strikes me the things that they remember and they regret. It wasn't, I wish I worked harder. It's these moments, and they always talk about these moments. But yeah, and it's something that we can do, and just to remember to manage our energy. Sometimes, like right now, I'm in my push state. I want to grow and I got promoted, and that's awesome. But a year and a half ago, my micro goals were literally go to this one meeting, shower, and write on your journal 3 things that you're feeling. And that's okay. You're sometimes 100% is doing, I got out of bed and I put different pajamas on from the pajamas that I had from yesterday. That's cool. That's why you always have several PJs. Life tip. But I've been in all of those things, and that's why the little picture of you helps, because it makes sense that you were like that. We had a difficult situation. Sometimes we're struggling. That's human, and there needs to be room for the human. You don't have to be perfect to be exceptional. You just have to be human.
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. The other thing that came to mind as I was hearing you, and I've said this in a couple of the keynotes that I do, is sometimes, again, it's hard to do it for us. No matter what, you hear all of these things, you hear the podcast, you read the books, and you hear do the micro moment of joy and the ritual, and it's still hard. It's
Yeah.
still like, there must be something wrong with me, because I just can't. I'm sad, I'm upset, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. I feel like the world is coming down to me. And one of the things I think, especially as Latinas, I don't want to generalize for everybody, but I hear it again and again and again in the women that I coach, is we might not be able to do it for us, but we definitely can do it for others, because family and community is an integral part of who we are. And therefore, I know that for me, when getting out of that hole becomes very, very hard, the first thing that I think about is my kids. And the second thing that I think about is this community, right? And saying, okay, if I can't get out of this because of me, for whatever the reason, like I'm not going to shame myself. I'm like, I just can't, like today, I cannot wake up for me, but I
Yep.
have to wake up for my kids. I have to wake up for my community. I have to do this for them, because if not, then what example am I leaving them with? What legacy am I showing, them that can happen? And that's the thing that will kick me out of bed. Like that is the thing that gives me the energy to thrive. And then I call you, and then I call like
And then we
other
cry
people,
together.
and then we cry together, and then you sort of like push yourself out there. But that's the other thing that I found, that is sometimes if you can't do it for yourself, for whatever the reason, there is no shaming, there's no nothing. It just happens, it just is. Do it for somebody else, right?
Mhm.
The person or the people that motivate you to, because they're important in some way in your
Yeah.
life. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I struggle with that one a bit, but at the end of the day, I just reframed so many things in my head. I put myself like as if I was in the theater and I was observing life. So instead of looking at life like these are good feelings and bad feelings, and I just looked at it, this is life, and it's like a video game. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're in the hole and you need to go in the dungeon. So when I'm like in the dungeon, I'm like, oh, this is the sucky part, okay. But I know that after the sucky part, you go up and then you have your little Mario mushroom or whatever. I'm dating myself with my Mario Bros. I don't know what they play now, but you're right. So the purpose is like, okay, for my kids and for others, but also just to know that there's nothing wrong with you because you feel a certain way. You feel how you feel.
Yeah.
And you, by just feeling your feelings and letting that process and showing people that you're going to own it and heal at your own pace. Because to me, it's like having a broken foot. You have a broken heart or you have a broken emotional situation going. Cool. It takes a while. But showing people that you're showing up for you is a great example for others. And then that's why the community gets so rooted because I don't like the no one's coming to save you. That's not true. When you're in the hole, if I'm sick, I'm calling my doctor. If my
Yeah.
heart breaks, I'm calling you, Ilhiana. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna cry for a minute because I'm in the dungeon. One
Yeah.
day I'm not gonna be in the dungeon and you'll be, and I'll be like flying high. I'm gonna call you to be like, are you in the dungeon? Do you want some food? Because I cannot do the work for you, but I can make sure that you're fed and alive and all the cool things. And that's when knowing that there's something bigger than you keeps you here. But when you stop looking at it as a bad thing, and it's just like, oh, that's part of life. Part of life is a dungeon. It takes a lot of pressure away because I was like, oh my God, I should be happy. And when I wasn't, I'm like, holy crap, why? And then ironically, I was way happier when I'm like, I'm going to dungeon for a bit. I'm just going to eat some donuts.
Yeah.
Donuts are good.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said a magical word. I should be happy. And there's a lot of pressure in that. Like, why am I not blessing my, the things that I have? Like, there's, again, and then there's that extra added shame and guilt because I should feel better because I have food on my table, or I have a, roof on top of me, whatever. And then instead of helping, it just pulls you even more
Yeah.
down, right? But you're right. Sometimes it's just about sitting with it and being okay and giving ourselves
Yeah.
grace. I love
Hey,
that.
community, it's gonna suck for a bit. Can you help me out here? Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's why you
yeah,
have
yeah.
community. Because I'm
That
like,
that
listen, I'm out for a minute.
absolute,
It's your time
absolutely,
to kill it because I want to go cry over there.
absolutely,
Tag, you're in.
absolutely. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now the other thing, because we're running out of time here, we said that we could talk about this for hours and hours on
Yeah.
end. But the other thing that I really don't want to let go, and you've mentioned it several times, is that bucket list, right? And really taking that now to the next level. You've already posted about part of your bucket list, but now I'm curious. Like, I know that you have this amazing bucket list. What else is on your bucket list?
gosh. So we went to Africa recently and we did Galapagos, but for me, it's all the animals. So we're gonna do gorilla trekking. I'm going to Bhutan at the end of this year. I want to do Patagonia. All the animals in the wild. There's nothing like encountering life, and it takes you out of yourself when you look at nature bigger than you, and all of the things that I can do to go and explore the miracle that it is to exist, and just for a minute be like, oh my gosh, these stars at night and the sunsets and the sunrises. As many of those things that I can collect, I'll be happy. I just want to make sure that I prioritize that for real, because if I don't, life just goes. So I book that 2 years in advance. Like literally, I go booking, and then I leave room for free flow for every year. My kids and my husband and I make a list of 3 new things, new experiences. And increasingly, I do things that I never thought I would do. And I'm always surprised at things that I end up liking. So make your bucket list and live. You only have today.
I love that. And that's something that my husband actually told me a while back. Very like when I was in that hole, right? I always said, in my other life, I would love to do this. In my other life, I would love to do that. And one day he just turned around and said, I don't know if there's another life, but do you know that for now, like this is your only life? So you should like start doing it right now instead of waiting to see if there's another life. And it hit me like when he said it so like casually.
There's no other
It hit
life
me,
that
and
we
I was
know.
like, "You're right. Like, I don't know if there's another life or not, but for now, this is it." So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
listen,
I'm
like it doesn't
living
it
that
doesn't have to
bucket
cost
list.
money. Like we camped on the backyard when there's like no moon, and things like that, little things. A very nice cup of coffee for you every, like it can be little things that you haven't tried. Some
I
tea
love
that's
that.
from la la la. Just do it, because nobody else is going to do it for you, and we
Yep,
deserve better. We deserve
yep.
better. So let's do it for us.
I love that. I love that, Mercedes. Well, congratulations on your promotion because we need to celebrate, and
We do.
especially Latinas, we need to celebrate when we get to those senior positions because representation matters. So, thank you so much for being one of those Latinas that gets into those positions because it is important, and it is important to celebrate and to own it and to know that you are creating, you're opening spaces for others. So, thank you so much for doing that.
This is for every Latina. This the head of HR. This is for every Latina that's been told no before. That's for you.
Yeah.
And we get to be like us and still make it. That's extraordinary.
Yeah, that's
That's us.
extraordinary.
That's
Yes,
us. Yeah.
absolutely. And on that note, as we head into the final minutes here, we are open nominations for Extraordinary Latina Awards. This is our fourth year being able to celebrate Extraordinary Latinas like every one of you out there. So make sure that you nominate another Latina and that you nominate yourself because we all deserve to be celebrated. So you can find the nominations on unitedlatinas.com/awards. That's where you can learn more about the different categories that we have, and then nominate yourself and others. We need to, expand and spotlight as many Latinas out there because you're right, Mercedes, we're all extraordinary in what we do. And then this year, in addition to our traditional categories, we are opening an additional category of top 50 over 50 Latinas because guess what? Those of us over 50, we're still shining, we're still rocking, and that requires an
Oh, yeah.
additional spotlight as well. So if you know somebody over 50 or you yourself are over 50, nominate as well because that's an additional uh, group that we are celebrating. And that's going to be celebrated in a new digital magazine that we'll be having where we are going to spotlight the winners of the top 50 and then the winners of the Extraordinary Latina Awards. So don't wait. September 1st is the deadline. No extension, no extensions, no exceptions. So we still have time, 6 weeks. We have enough time to do that. And the other thing, save the date for our Hispanic Heritage Month virtual conference. This will be our 5th year doing our conference, which they're all amazing. They're all spectacular. And this one's not going to be any different. So October 1st, you can register right now on our website. Again, unitedlatinas.com/events. You'll see it there. Register. It's going to be October 1st from 12 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. And we're going to have an amazing lineup of speakers, so don't miss on that one either. And then we have a ton of other things, but those
Sounds like bucket list items, Ilhiana. That sounds like things to put on your bucket list.
those are bucket.
Yeah, you can't let things get in there and celebrate yourself. So
absolutely, and let us celebrate you, right? It goes back to owning what we do, and having others know the amazing impact that we create. So
like come on. Who's gonna do it for us? I'm tired, y'all. I'm amazing. You're amazing. Why can't we be amazing together? No shame. We don't have time for this.
We don't have time.
We work too hard for this nonsense. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Mercedes. As always, a pleasure. And we'll continue moving the world forward, because that is what Latinas, that's what we do, right?
Pa adelante, Latinas.
Palante. Thank you so much, Mercedes. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.